Katherine Cook Show. I'm Katherine Cook. I'm a leadership development coach and owner of Kayadina Coaching. This show is all about helping people to make their dreams a reality. What we're going to do is go through some of the common barriers that people go through when they're trying to reach their career potential. Then I'm going to introduce you to someone who found a way to knock that out of their way, and then give you some coaching on how you can do it for yourself. Today we're going to talk about work-life balance. I know a man who, he's in sales. He also owns a franchise of Club Z, a tutoring company, and he is an elected official on the Cranston School Committee. So incredibly busy and manages to make it work. Let me tell you why work-life balance is important. When I was living in DC, I wanted to be a Washington Wizards cheerleader. I studied dance, I loved dancing. I did all the research, I knew the tryouts, I knew what the schedule for before and after and promotion, everything. But I had a full-time job, just like most of the cheerleaders do, and I talked myself out of it because I felt that I could not do my job and be a cheerleader, and so decades later, it's one of my biggest regrets. So now we have Jeff with us, and Jeff found a way to make his dream a reality, and he is working on his political career. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here.
How are you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. How are you?
Good. Where are you from?
I'm from Cranston, Rhode Island. I grew up there. I moved there when I was 8, and I graduated from high school. Okay. And then I went to the University of Vermont, and after that, I moved down to Washington D.C. Also. I actually didn't know you were down there also.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
We'll have to compare notes.
Yeah.
And I lived there for 10 years, and then I moved back home to Rhode Island, and I eventually settled in Cranston again. I'm a true Rhode Islander.
Yeah, and now on the Cranston School Committee.
Yes, yes. I've been serving for 3 years since 2013.
Okay. All right, so what inspired you to decide to join the school committee?
I've always wanted to run for office ever since I was 18. I've been a political person since I was 14. I started following politics. To be quite honest, I started disagreeing with everything Ronald Reagan did, and so I knew that it fascinated me. And when I was 18, I wanted to run for president. And, and then I realized that being from Rhode Island, that would never happen.
Well, and also being 18. That's
18, true. Yeah, that's true. I'd had
35.
Yeah, 35, right? Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to be a congressman or senator from Rhode Island, and that's actually still a possibility down the road. Okay. But now I had the opportunity to run for school committee the first time in 2010, and I lost by 67 votes, and so I ran again in 2012, and I won. I beat the same guy by 964 votes, and so it's always something I wanted to do, and I had the opportunity, and I did it.
Okay, all right. Now Club Z.
Yes.
First of all, the name.
The name. The name is very interesting. It actually took me about a year of running the business before I found out where the name came from. And
that there's no bouncers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Exactly. There's it's based in Tampa, Florida, and the CEO actually started the first Club Z tutoring thing. What he was doing, he actually started a magazine for parents for listing children's activities and all that. And he started getting asked for referrals, and one of the biggest referrals that he got was for tutoring, and the name of the magazine was called Club Z. And so when he decided to start the tutoring business, he just called it Club Z Tutoring. Okay. And so that's where the name came from.
Okay, and so now you own a franchise of Club Z.
I do, yeah, for about the past 2 years or so.
Okay, and then you were also doing sales.
Yes, I am. I'm working full time.
Okay, so then how does being a salesperson fall in play with being on the school committee and also owning a franchise?
They're actually all very similar because they're really all about sales. In sales, you're selling products and services. I'm at work right now at Solar City, so one of the things what I'm selling is solar panels to people. I'm also selling dreams and possibilities, as any good salesman should. And then with Club Z, I'm selling the tutoring services, and then finally with politics and the school committee, I'm selling concepts and ideas. I'm trying to convince people that what I think is a good thing to do is something that should be done, and they're all very, very challenging to do. I think it's actually harder to get someone's money than to get their vote. but I still work at both, and so hopefully I'll be able to succeed.
So each one of those could be its own unique full-time job.
Oh yes,
I mean,
definitely. Yeah.
The
yeah.
sales job,
Yes.
owning the franchise, and then being on the school committee. So how much time in an ideal world would you be able to dedicate to each of those?
Well, the job is 40 hours a week, so I would do that. If they would pay me for 40 hours for working 20, I would do it. But that's 40 hours a week, and then ideally with Club Z, I would say. Probably if I could dedicate 20 hours, that would be good, and probably also 20 hours for a school committee. I don't. I'll be honest. I don't work 60 hours a week. I probably work 50 hours a week. But for some reason that there's a psychological block getting 60 hours, and it is quite hard to balance the three and to make sure that everything gets done.
Yeah, there are 168 hours in a week, and you
Right.
just told me 40 plus 20 plus 20.
Right.
And that didn't include eating or
Right,
sleeping or
right.
showering.
Yeah, right.
You know, you've got family, friends.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, it is difficult. Like for example, today's actually my day off. I have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off, and I choose to go to a networking meeting on Tuesday mornings for Solar City. And I do it because I actually enjoy the networking meeting. It's a lot of fun. The people there are really great, and if I get leads out of it, then all the better. But then I did that, and then today I basically ran errands. I did all the things that people do on Saturdays and Sundays, and or do during the week. I did that, and I still didn't get everything done. So it's quite a balance to juggle.
So what advice do you have for someone who's trying to balance as much as you are?
I would say take time for yourself. For example, today, even though I was busy throughout the whole day, I love reading the newspaper. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I
Actual
took actual
paper?
newspaper. I am the only person under the age of 65 in Rhode Island who still gets a newspaper every day.
Projo?
Projo, yes, Providence Journal, yes. And I read it. I try to read it from cover to cover.
Okay.
And actually the last couple of days I haven't succeeded in doing that. But it's what I enjoy doing. It's what relaxes me. And I actually spent an hour today just reading the newspaper because I knew it was my day off. And even though I had all these things to do, I knew I needed to take some time for myself. So that's probably the biggest thing I would recommend is budgeting time for yourself. And thinking about your day, and then thinking what am I going to do for myself, and then go from there. It's kind of the philosophy of pay yourself first.
Yes.
And it's both literally, financially, and also metaphorically too.
Okay. All right. Now, I did work with someone who was actually the mayor of a small town in Georgia.
Oh, really? Okay.
Very small town in Georgia. So he was the mayor of the town, and he was also working at the company, full-time job. What advice would you give someone who wants to go into politics?
I would say do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just Nike, just.
Yeah, exactly. Nike was right. Just do it.
Okay.
If it's something you always wanted to do, find an opportunity. I recommend running for an open seat, unless of course the person you're going to challenge has issues which you can jump on. Hopefully they're legitimate issues, and the person doesn't really deserve to be in office. But if not, I would recommend running for an open seat. That's what I first did.
Okay.
And then just work your heart out. Basically in politics to get elected, especially on the local level, you have to knock on doors. For each of my campaigns, I probably knocked on at least 2,000 doors, and I made it. The first two times I ran. I have to admit, the third time I was unopposed, so I didn't work as hard as I could have. But the first two times,
I was around. I know you still worked.
Oh yes, definitely, yeah. And but the first two times, I made it my mission to knock on every door on every street in my ward, and I did that. I did that both times, and it meant I walked in the rain. It meant that I had a knee injury and I was walking with a limp. It meant that I was giving up time with my friends and time for myself. But actually, one of the great things, it's a funny little story. One of the times I was walking in the rain, I was talking to a voter, and he felt so bad for me. He actually gave me a baseball hat to wear.
That's so nice.
and I told him after I was done I would come back and I would return it to him. And he's like, "No, you keep it." And so I still have that hat. That's
Nice.
mine, yeah.
What kind of baseball cap?
It was a Boston Celtics hat, actually.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was very grateful because it was just a nice thing to do, and it kept the rain off my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as you're saying that, I was thinking about, you've got, like you said, family and friends and trying to do for yourself so you don't burn yourself out.
Right.
And like you said, the job and everything else. When all of that comes together and then you're trying to do something like knock on every door in your territory in Cranston, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
How do you prioritize? What advice would you give to someone who's saying, I've got all this in front of me, how do I prioritize?
What I would say, my first thought was to say to put out the fires, but then my second thought was to say that work yourself so that you're not so that there are no fires. If it means planning, like that's one thing that I do. I keep very specific to-do lists. I have a section for in the app that I use. I have a section for work. I have a section for school committee. I have a section for personal. I have a section for home. And when I'm thinking about my activities, because the one thing I need to do, I know for myself, if I don't write something down, it is just gone. It is in the ether, and so I need to write things down. And actually, one of the things which I wanted to do today, which I didn't get to, was write down my to-do list for school committee. And so you're not going to get everything done. That's also one of the biggest things is recognize you're not going to get everything done. But try to plan as much as possible to avoid the fires, and then just work basically. And I would also recommend a to-do list. It's just the best way to get everything done.
Yeah, I use a to-do list too, and then sometimes I'll make Sunday my day of planning what's happening this week. And someone once told me about a grid. It's priority versus urgency.
Right. Important versus not important. Urgent versus not urgent.
Yes,
yeah.
And number 1 is high priority, high urgency.
Right.
2 is high urgency, low importance. Oh, it's importance versus urgency. 2 is high urgency, low importance. 3 is high importance, low urgency, and 4 is why are you doing this anyway?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Low importance, low urgency.
Right, yeah, exactly. That is a very effective way to do things. I do have to admit I don't use that as often as I can, but I do have my to-do list, and then from there I prioritize. I take a look at it, and actually I guess I should say that I don't actually use the grid because I use this app called Todoist. I'll give them a shout out because it's
Apple?
really good. Yeah.
I use it. Reminders.
Yes.
I use the same one.
Yeah, and so when I make my to-do list on Todoist, I prioritize. So really that's what I'm doing is I'm saying this is the most important and this is the most urgent, and so then I have a list of things I can work down, and I just go from there.
Now, I know a lot of times you end up working from home, especially because you said you do a lot of work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Right.
And working from home is a great concept. I know I've done it myself, and I know a number of people want to do it. But the temptation to end up in your pajamas, sitting on your couch, watching a Criminal Minds marathon can be pretty strong.
Yes, definitely. It's
so how do you avoid that?
Really is to just it's actually also one of the reasons I go to the networking meeting is because I have to get up at 7:30. I have to shower because they appreciate that, and
I appreciate the fact that you shower too.
Okay, great, thank you. And so I go to the meeting, and it's already a business mindset, and so I keep that for the rest of the day. So I would actually actually recommend that finding some kind of business aspect that works for you, even if you're just working alone. If it could be like checking email the first thing in the morning, even though experts actually say not to do that because you can get distracted by what comes in. But it could be checking email. It could be making your to-do list for the day. It could be accomplishing one task. And that gets the ball rolling, and staying away from the TV. Keep the TV off.
Now, I'm going to ask you another question about this.
Okay.
Because now let's say you have your system. You get up, you don't check your emails, you actually shower, so you're not in your pajamas, you're not watching Shamar Moore on Criminal Minds, and which
I'm actually watching J.J. Cook, but that's personal preference.
Yeah, personal preference. Yeah. So, and then it's 2 o'clock, and you've got the school committee, you've got your job,
right.
You've got everybody who wants something, everybody wants a piece of you. How do you do it then?
Once again, prioritize. That's the biggest thing. Like I knew coming here that I knew I wanted time for myself. That was a big priority. I have a stack of mail which I have to go through. So I went through that. And then I knew that I came here. So it was just getting my priorities straight and just working on the way down, and once again paying myself first, because if I think if I had not taken that hour to read the newspaper, I'd probably be grumpy and resentful and think, oh, I just work all the time. But I think, oh, I had that enjoyment. I had my bowl of cereal and my newspaper, and it was just good. It was nice.
Okay. Do you delegate? In what areas do you delegate responsibility?
That is a good question. Because I actually really don't have much opportunity either. Like with school committee, I can sometimes delegate things to our secretary, but that's just like making copies or formatting a document or something like that. But actual writing policies or responding to constituents, I need to do that, and so that's really hard. And then with the business with Club Z, I'm a solo entrepreneur, and so I do everything again myself. One thing I could do there is I probably could, like for example, one of my most time-consuming things is actually finding tutors, finding good quality tutors. If I wanted to pay the money, I could probably go on. It's now called Upworthy, I think. It used to be called Elance.
Oh yeah, I use them.
I could probably find someone who could do the research and find the tutors for me, if I wanted to do that. But then again, as a solo entrepreneur, every dollar counts.
Yes.
And if I spend $50 to pay someone to spend 3 hours doing that or so, that's $50 out of my pocket.
Right.
And so I'd rather keep the money. I'd rather keep the money in my pocket, so I do it myself. And then finally, my job. There's really not much chance for delegation. I'm not entry level, but I'm also not an uppity up, and so.
Is that an official title?
That is the official uppity up. I'm striving for that, to get that on my business card.
Okay.
And so really. If I could, I would delegate, but I really don't have the chance to do that.
Okay. So what's next for you?
What's next? Good question. Well, I have to make a decision by June on running for school committee. I believe I'm going to run, but.
I was say, why is that really a question?
Well, let me explain. Is that a politician is not supposed to have aspirations, but we all do, and so I do aspire to a higher office, and I'm waiting to see if one of those higher offices might open up, and if so, I may run for that, or I may not. I need to be coy, and if something like that doesn't happen, then I'm definitely running for school committee again. But I am waiting my time to see what happens.
Okay. And so to give some advice on if you're trying to balance work and your dreams and your family and your friends, some of the key things to keep in mind are your priorities. What is it that's truly driving you? We talked about those 4 quadrants, what's most important and most urgent versus not important and not urgent, and getting those things off of your plate. That's huge. Is figuring out what is it that's actually important to you, putting that in priority order, and make sure that you put some time for yourself in there. I know myself, you like to read the newspaper. I have my things. I like crosswords a lot. And I love to play with my phone, and I play with my phone way too many times. Kind of addicted to my iPhone and my games. But if I don't have some time with my iPhone and my games, then I'm going to be a very grumpy person, and you don't really want to deal with me. So just let me have my time.
Yes.
And I'm sure everyone else has your thing that you need your time to do this, and then prioritize, make the plans, and then make it happen. And feel free to reach out to me at kadinacoaching.com. But also wanted to go back to you a little bit and talk about wanted to talk to you a little bit more about Club Z as well.
Sure. Club Z is actually the largest in-home tutoring company in the nation. There's about 500 locations across the country.
Okay, I'd like to know about your role there.
Oh, okay, sure. Like I said, I'm a solo entrepreneur. So I do the recruiting of the tutors. I do the managing of the tutors. I don't actually do the tutoring. I hire tutors who then go to the families' houses and tutor there. And then I also do all the back end stuff, all the backroom stuff, the financial management, the website updates, making sure my SEO and my internet marketing is working properly, and so it is a lot a lot of time. It's a lot of fun. It's a very big challenge, and it's just good. I'm really glad that I did it. It's something that happened a couple years ago. It's actually it's an interesting story. How much time do we have?
A couple minutes.
Okay, great. The way I decided I wanted to become an entrepreneur is I had lost my job. I was working for a nonprofit that my position was grant funded, and the organization decided not to renew the grant, so I was out of a job. And one day I was reading the newspaper, and it was the business section, and there was a story about this woman in California who opened her own green laundromat, an environmentally friendly laundromat. And I thought that would be cool. I could do that. And so I started looking into buying laundromats. I very fortunately, and this is actually something very important, I found a mentor. I found someone who had experience buying businesses, and we struck up a relationship, and he eventually became and is my mentor. And we worked together looking at a lot of laundromats, discovered that wasn't really going to work, looked at a whole bunch of businesses, and then finally found Club Z. And I thought that with my background in education, it would be a perfect fit. And so it's worked out pretty well.
Okay, and I can also relate with owning your own business, all the hats you have to wear. It's one of the reasons I asked you about delegation. Well, one, to get some tips for myself, but
okay.
I know one of the things I always say is it takes a village to raise a business.
Right. Yes, exactly. It does because I guess in some of the ways I delegate, like my SEO and my internet marketing. I have a company that I do that. I specifically bought a franchise because they have a business model that works, and they also have a lot of resources. And so while I'm not necessarily delegating to them, I can go to them to get ad copy, to get advice on how to do things, to just vent if I need to. And so there are a lot of resources out there for me to draw upon.
Okay. All right. So again, you had a dream. You wanted to own a business, like a green dry cleaner, but not quite.
Yes.
And then found a way to make that happen by truly identifying what's important to you and what you had time for and what you don't have time for.
Right.
And that's how you came across doing a franchise.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
And now you're making it work.
Yes. Yeah. It's good. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of work. And I was working at 10 o'clock last night, but that's just the way it goes.
So was I.
Yeah. Okay.
So who are some of your role models?
Good question. Politically, my favorite politician is Franklin Roosevelt,
Okay.
FDR. I love what he did for the country. He inspires me politically, and he very interesting. We could do a whole show just on him. He had the interests of the country at heart, but he also had his own interests there too, and he somehow made them work together. And that's what I'm hoping to do politically, is to help people, but then also just get satisfaction from doing the job.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm sure the History Channel has done several shows
Yes, right.
on FDR,
Yeah.
and probably some movies and everything else.
Right. So, and as far as business-wise, I would actually say Elon Musk, who
I'm not
happens,
familiar with that.
he runs SpaceX. I think he started PayPal. He was the CEO of PayPal.
Okay.
And he's now actually chairman of Solar City's board, and he's been very fortunate. I'm sure through a lot of hard work, but he is the entrepreneur's entrepreneur, and he's doing. Have you heard of SpaceX?
No.
He basically wants to start a private business that will shuttle things up to space. Like he actually just did this recently with a space shuttle.
Okay.
He shot a rocket up there and delivered some goods, and I find that inspiring, the fact that he's able to do something that no one else has ever done, and so that's good.
And I'm not surprised that your role models are also people that are very famous for being able to balance work life and everything else.
Right.
So thank you all. This has been the Katherine Cook Show. Again, I'm Katherine Cook, and today we're talking about work-life balance with Jeff Gale, who is on the school committee in Cranston. Mm-hmm. I got that correct this time.
Yes.
And so thank you. If you have any questions, if you want to talk to me, you can email me at Katherine@Kadina Coaching.com. But in the meantime, thank you, and whatever your dreams are, trust me, I know you got this.